It's so freaking tiny. I love it. Welcome back, guys and gals. As always, my name is Matt. If you guys are new here, this channel is all about hiking and backpacking. We talk a ton of gear here. I'm into hammock camping and I go some pretty sweet places in the gorgeous Canadian Rockies. So if any of that sounds interesting to you guys, consider clicking on the subscribe button over here. But let's talk about the real reason you guys are here and let's jump right into it. Let's talk about my 5-ounce cook kit that we're going to be going with for 2020. So one of my big goals going into the 2020 backpacking season was to actually try and shave a pound to a pound and a half off of my base weight from 2019. The primary reason for that is I've got a couple of backpacking trips that I'm hopeful to do that are going to be between 8 to 10 days long this summer. To make life a little bit easier on myself when I'm carrying, up to like 15 to 20 pounds of food, I decided I'm going to try and drop a little bit of weight out of my base weight in my backpacking kit. So I looked at my cook kit from 2019 and I was just shy of 8 ounces. And I thought to myself, this is probably an easy way that I could shave a couple more ounces out of my backpacking kit. And as my buddy Devin always says, ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. So I was able to shave just about 3 ounces off of my cook kit going with this setup here. So the basis of the setup for 2020 is the 5oz 550 Light titanium pot. When pulled out of its gorgeous orange stuff sack, the 5oz 550 Light titanium pot is 78 grams or 2 3/4 of an ounce. And the stuff sack is 12 grams or 3/8 of an ounce. The stuff sack is your very typical orange stuff sack from 5oz. I am going to use the stuff sack. I do like keeping my entire cook kit contained as one self-contained unit. Your standard 5oz design, just very, very small. Like I said, being the 550 mil. Yeah, this thing is absolutely tiny. 3 inches tall, 3 3/4 inch diameter. Like, yeah, this thing is absolutely tiny, but I freaking love it. The 550 mils to me is a perfect size pot for what I use in the backcountry. I generally do my boil in a bag meals. I do my homemade dehydrated spaghettis, or every now and then I'll take myself a Mountain House meal. But the only thing that I'm ever boiling is 500 mils of water or less. So the 550 mil pot is absolutely perfect. The 550 mil pot shrinks me down a little bit from my 650 mil pot that I was using last year. So it even saves me a little bit of real estate inside my pack, shrinking down to a smaller setup. Pot also comes with your little standard lid that all the 5oz pots come with your little flippy tab for your pot gripper here. The next piece of gear in my 2020 cook kit is a pretty significant change for me. It's something I've talked about a little bit, kind of hinted at a bit. We're gonna go with the cat food can Fancy Feast alcohol stove. The stove weighs 24 grams or 3/4 of an ounce. This is a homemade alcohol stove that I made out of a can of Fancy Feast cat food, a can of, I think it was tomato paste, some carbon felt that I use as a plumber for, as like a heat barrier. If you're soldering in a tight place, you put it in behind so you don't burn finished walls and stuff like that. So it's got a little bit of carbon felt inside between the tomato paste can and the cat food can, and then you pour your denatured alcohol inside, and that's the stove. It's got a couple vent holes and stuff. I don't know, took me maybe 20 minutes to make this thing and cost about $3 in parts. So yeah, that's the Fancy Feast alcohol stove that we're going to be going with in 2020. One of the big drawbacks with alcohol stoves is they are very prone to being disrupted by wind, so you do need a windscreen to go with them. This is the little windscreen that I'm going to go with. I don't entirely remember where I got this from. I want to say this was a little cut off chunk from an old MSR windscreen set that I had bought for my Whisper Light. It's basically just like a really thick piece of tin foil. It's pretty malleable. It weighs 14 grams or half an ounce. It's just enough to cover so wind doesn't blow the stove out basically. But yeah, need a windscreen for it. So that's the windscreen I'm going with for my cook setup. To light my stove, as always, the blue Bic Mini. This guy here being 10 grams or 3/8 of an ounce. Just a little Bic Mini to start my stove. Yeah, I carry a whack of Bic Minis in my backpacking kit, but there's always one in my cook kit. It's always the blue Bic Mini. That's what ends up in my cook kit all the time. So with the alcohol stove, doing a little bit of testing, it takes me about 3/4 of an ounce of alcohol to boil 500 mils of water. To measure out my 3/4 of an ounce of alcohol, I take a little 1 ounce plastic shot glass. I have no idea where Lindsay got these from, but we have a whack of them in one of our cupboards. This guy weighs 3 grams or 1/8 of an ounce. So I just kind of eyeball, 3/4 of this thing full, pour it into the stove, light it, and I get boiling water about 5 to 6 minutes later. So that covers everything I carry in my little self-contained cook kit. There may be a couple obvious pieces of my cook setup that I haven't mentioned yet. The first one is going to be my eating utensil. As always, the Toaks Titanium Spork. I love this thing. I don't eat out of the bag ever with a Mountain House or anything like that. And if I do, I cut the top of the bag off so I don't need to carry this like ridiculous long-handled spork that just, you know, I find the long-handled ones are kind of a pain to find a place to store it with. I just much prefer the shorter one, so I carry the short Toaks Titanium Spork. This guy is 16 grams or 5/8 of an ounce. It's titanium, it's got the little polished bowl on the end. It makes your food come off nicer, it's a lot easier to clean, stuff doesn't stick to it as much. So yeah, but the polished bowl, there's a pro tip for you guys if you guys didn't know. The next part of my 2020 backpacking cook kit is how I'm going to carry the alcohol for my alcohol stove. And what I'm going to go with is these little refillable plastic 10-ounce fuel bottles. I got these from Dutchware Gear. They're just a little refillable bottle. Lid screws on. This one's got this little pour spout here, so you flip this little tab up and you got this nice little hole that's nice and easy to have a nice control fill when I fill up the little shot glass with alcohol. This 10-ounce bottle would cover me for a 5-day backpacking trip. The bottle itself, 1¼ ounce or 33 grams, so the bottle doesn't really weigh much. It's a little fuel bottle I'm going to be carrying from alcohol stove. For the cook kit, nests nicely inside. Obviously the spork and the fuel bottle don't fit inside there, but I carry those in separate spots in my pack anyways, so it's not too much of an issue for me. If you guys saw value in this, in the weight savings that I've gotten from going with a smaller cook set, and you guys are into weight savings, you're looking to save a little bit of weight in your backpacking kit, what I'm going to do for you guys is up over here on this side of the screen, I'm going to put up a playlist that I've got for a whole bunch of different weight saving backpacking tips. So if you guys are done watching this one and you enjoyed, go and check that one out. And as always, I am Matty. Thank y'all so dang much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.